and I was just going to do it at the end of the session. One of it would be, the user data that they're sending, and then the other one would be like all of the analytics for that individual session.
Okay.
So I totally get. I think we're on the exact same page with regard to the user data, and I could handle that just fine. In terms of the analytics, like I don't think Unity treats events in the same way that I'm used to. Like I could kick you out all of the Unity events, but they'll be, garbage. Like you won't be able to understand them. So any analytics that you want, I have to kind of set up manually.
Yeah.
And so it all depends on like what you need. I think like the other thing is that like I'm running tight on hours at the end of the project now in terms of how much I could wire up those specific events to get you analytics. And I thought from session start time, the session length, whether they're opting out of the selfie and whether the photo is sent, that's kind of like all the information you need to figure out exactly what happened in that individual session, because everything other than that is totally scripted.
Yeah. So
I thought.
the way we have the analytics working right now, and I could send you maybe an example, but so we have a table with columns. So it was like the date and time of the current event, and then the app name. So yours would be AR, an event type, an event value, an event description. So instead of you sending me one thing that, so instead of you sending me one thing that had the time, start time, the length, the opt out, and the photo sent, the way we were doing it is like each time that event happens, we would just post to this URL. So like if someone clicked to start the app, you would just send a post that says session start at this time. And then at the end, whenever someone's ending a session or your timeout happens, you just send like that particular session is ending. And if someone would opt out of a selfie, then you just send an event that says AR app, selfie opt out, true. And, so that's the way we have the analytics table set up right now, is like each time we post, it's in a single event that has its own date, time, event name, app name, and value. So it's kind of a running log. So if it's easier for you to send one post with all this information, then I might be able to take that.
No, I'll do it your way. I'll do it your way. That's fine. What is like the problem is I'm just gonna have to make something up for like the event name and the event value on some of these, but
So
I guess
we so Tara's going through all the analytics and creating those values for us pretty much.
okay.
Just let me see if she actually did.
The value names.
Yeah, let me just share my screen. So yeah, so analytics. So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
We have like the pub app. There's event types of like an on-screen click versus opening an app, and then so we have the body apps, behind the scenes, tips. Let's see if she did the okay. So she hadn't done the AR stuff yet, but she's gone through the list of all the apps and creating basically the pieces of data we need for each one. So what we're doing with the session stuff is like when someone begins the app, you just say, send the app name, AR, a session timer, or some kind of, we'll probably need to tweak these, but if it's a session event type, send one with a start and with an end. And all you need to do is send the start date and the end date and time. And then whenever we get into the reporting and the analytics, we could calculate the session time by just looking at the start and the end session event type.
Yep.
So it kind of makes it easier where you don't have to calculate and have timers running on your own, like all throughout the app. The things like, let's see, so you had, let's see. So you had, so start time could be 1, session length we might not need if we do this new way. So we just need session start, session end, selfie opt out, and photo sent. So those could be basically AR app, a session type at start and end, and then it could be like a on-screen click or something, or like syntax type for, and then the like event value, like I don't know if they might want the number or something. So we could give you these specifics of like, these are the fields we want, and this is the data we want. And then if it's easier for you to send like the 5 individual ones, then that's fine. If you need to send it all in one,
I don't need to. This is perfect. Yeah. If y'all could give me the URL that I'm posting to, and these, you could just give me my section of this spreadsheet would be perfect.
Okay. So Tara was working on this today, so we'll probably try to finish it in the next day or two, and then I could send you the URL, and I could send you your little section here, and then you just, whenever those events happen, you just push to it. The only thing that you might need to keep is like, we're trying to figure out a way to reference, like have a session ID sort of and reference that session ID. So if you send like a start session, if that has an ID that you could keep, and whenever you send the end session, you could just reference that session ID, then whenever we go back to reporting, then we could just kind of report on, if we pick a session ID from the AR app, we could see, all the different events that session had. And then we could kind of like look at them sequentially, like, oh, this particular session, they did this, this, and this. So, yeah. So that would be it. Just kind of keep a session ID for each session that you just pass the same one each time you post an event related to that session.
Okay. So I'll wait. So yeah. And if you could just sort of, put something in so session ID as well. And then what was the reference ID?
So like, if the start session, you just made up a number, like it was like, a random number, then whenever I would send, so I haven't decided yet, we might send the same session ID or like referencing back to the session ID. So like the start event won't have a reference session ID, but like if, maybe I just won't do the reference ID. Maybe we'll just have a session ID column, and you could just pass in like a same, just unique ID. So we could do something like, we could maybe have each app have like a prefix like AR and some random number, and then that's like your session ID for this particular guy. So,
so I'm just gonna do AR and then generate a GUID for each session.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
But and then if you want to test it, like if you want to spin up a little quick app that just has a post request that literally posts one thing, I could set up my end to make sure that we communicate. And you probably want to make sure that you could save. If we need to test to make sure that your app has proper access to that Z drive, and you can save an image to it, and then that's pretty much it, I would say.
Cool. I'll work on that tomorrow. And what's the post address for the analytics?
So I'll send it to you. I can't remember what it is exactly. It'll be like something like /events or something like that.
Okay, cool. And then eventually I'll get the spreadsheet from y'all that shows all the events that you need. And I might need to come back and say, hey, it'd be really hard to actually figure out X, Y, Z event. But
basically, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's see what else was in her agenda. So she wanted to hammer out the details for the analytics. We pretty much did that. Post HTTP script and the image path for the Awesome experience. So yeah, we pretty much covered everything. Do you have any questions, or sounds like a plan?
Nope, that sounds great. I'll wait to get that. I'll wait to get that address from you, and I'll create a test build tomorrow. When might I be able? So when does it need to be all finished by? And when can I get feedback in case there's any communication issues? I'm guessing.
If you could do one tomorrow, that's fine. I'll be here tomorrow.
Cool.
And I could test it on site. The install is next week. So,
Good times. So hopefully it works.
yeah, we'll do what we can by next week. So the install will be like Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. So we'll have literally until probably Friday, Thursday or Friday before it's actually like up and live.
Sweet.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Let me get my to-do list. So I'll finish the analytics for AR app and send like the URL for events. All right. Ooh, got my list. So yeah, I'll be here tomorrow if you want to do just a simple post and let me know and try to save the images to the Z drive, whatever drive it is. You got the name of the drive, right? I think it's
Yep.
Z drive. Okay. Cool. Yep. Sounds good, man. Just text me or chat me if you got any questions.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks so much for taking out the time. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. Thank you for the help. The Oshner team that came today were like super pumped, man.
Sweet.
They like walked in and they were like really surprised on how big it was and how cool it was, and they were like,
Yeah, man. I was looking at that awning on the top of it. It looks pretty intense.
Each one of those little slats has programmable LEDs inside of them, so
Nuts.
they're actually this is out of scope, but like they want to somehow hook up all those LEDs to the AR app. So I don't know if the AR app. Have you ever worked with MQTT or Mosquito?
I haven't.
That's just key stuff. So they have all of those lights hooked up to like change different colors based on some state, whether it's like someone walking up to the AR screen or interacting with it or whatever. So that might be more scope down the road where we'll build it into the AR app to send a message out. So like, hey, someone's close, someone's using it, and then the lights could change whenever they.
Right. They're underneath it or starting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a couple of Mosquito libraries that could be used with C#, but I haven't looked into it. But again, yeah, that's out of scope, but definitely possible down the line.
Right.
Sure.
So, cool deal. All right, guys. Thanks for taking the time.
All right.
Thanks, Nick. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.